Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George, or all George. So, since the market is doing well and altcoins are coming up, tonight I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about Ethereum. Since it's Vitalik's 28th birthday, let's talk about how far Ethereum has gone and also the projects that are coming for it, the ones that are dubbed ETH killers. So I'm going to talk about those as well. And I do have something very special to share with you guys, and that is about Litecoin. Litecoin finally has something to talk about, and I'm going to talk about whether or not you should be holding on Litecoin. So let's get started. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams almost every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Luke says, I'm missing The Bachelor. I thought only women watch that show, Luke. But I'm glad you're here. All right. So, looking at Bitcoin, it's at 38.4, 38.5. Hey, that is doing... That is a good price. Bitcoin is doing well, right? So this morning I talked about how Bitcoin needs to shatter through this 38.5 mark and hold above. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet. We're like barely clinging on. So as a temporary ceiling, temporary resistance, we haven't quite shattered it yet, because you could see that we tried a couple times, couldn't. But it's very promising right now, and I've been telling you guys that we are slowly but surely moving up. And it's very promising that Bitcoin is holding right now. You know why? Because if you look at the futures for tomorrow, it's actually in the red. Today, NASDAQ had a good day, brought a lot of momentum back to tech stocks like Tesla's up big today. And it did have effect on Bitcoin. But look at tomorrow's red, right? Although that could turn green, because there's a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. However, you can see Bitcoin is still going in the right direction. And not only Bitcoin, the entire market is moving in the right direction. You can see Bitcoin dominance on top dropped about like 0.5%. And you got some really good movers today. Okay, you got Ethereum that's up almost 8%, a good recovery, right? You have Solana doing a really good recovery, about 13%. Terra, of course, doing a good recovery, like I expected, 16%. And then Polkadot, also 10%. I mean, look at it. You just scroll down. Literally everything is in the green except like 1 or 2 projects, right? Today is a good recovery day. Really good recovery day. So, let's talk about what's going on, right, with the market. Starting with tomorrow, just want to remind you guys, tomorrow's a big day, although most of the earnings are going to come after market, so we're not going to really know the effect until Tuesday night. Because tomorrow, I've already mentioned this, but there are a lot of earnings, including Google, AMD, PayPal. I'm not going to go through the significance of each one, but know that PayPal, of course, is very vested in Bitcoin and crypto, AMD as well, and of course, a big tech giant like Alphabet could definitely, or Google, aka Google, could definitely move the markets, right, in a positive direction. So tomorrow could be also a very good day. Maybe we could see Bitcoin finally back above $40,000. Seems like it was an eternity ago, but it really wasn't. It wasn't that long ago, but it would be nice to see Bitcoin back above 40,000. And someone like Tom Lee, who is a big Bitcoin bull, thinks that we may get a violent rally in February because we have been oversold and sold off for quite some time, since November for Bitcoin and since December for equity markets. So February is traditionally a pretty good month for all things, and we could have that violent rally, which is that bounce that I've been talking about for crypto, right? That could be coming. Starting tomorrow. And also, by the way, tomorrow is the start of Chinese New Year, which traditionally has not been good for crypto. However, this year is very different. So maybe Chinese New Year actually would bring some positive light to Bitcoin as well. So we got that to look forward to. Also, what is there? This one bill, right, that a lot of people has been very worried about. Part of what is this act called? The Competes Act, and this is something that Charles Hoskinson brought to our attention. Well, it looks like they're going to amend that already due to the feedback, due to people that's been, voicing their opinions. And it does seem like they are ready to amend at least one portion of it, according to this. And that is the fact that the Competes Act, or how the Treasury works, is if they deem a transaction that is fishy, maybe a money laundering, transaction, right? Before, they would have to make notice, and then they have 120 days to decide whether or not to lift that restriction, right? But at least they have to notify, and then they have 120 days to lift it if there's nothing wrong with it. Now, the provision before that was snuck in said that the Treasury can just block it permanently and never give notice if they didn't want to, right? But that seems to be out again, right? So the amendment is going to bring it back to the way it was before, except they're still going to include crypto inside this new act. Before, it didn't have language for crypto. So it is a win. It is a positive win. Not completely what people are looking for, but this is definitely a win. So, and you know what? There's still more time. This could still be changed, or this Competes Act could be revised completely, but we did get a win from this. So that's pretty good. All right, so that's what's going on right now with the overall market. So let's get to the main topic: Ethereum and the projects that are trying to kill Ethereum. All right, so today is Vitalik's birthday, and he turns 28 today, okay? And you know what? Since 2016 till now, it's been 6 years. Ethereum has definitely been blowing up, right? Because of smart contracts. They're the big daddy of smart contracts, the big daddy of L1s. I would consider them like the Bitcoin of the L1s, right? Their dominance has fallen a little bit. It used to be about 21, 22%, fallen a little bit harder recently, but they are climbing back up. And if we do have that recovery, right, that bounce, they can certainly bounce back really, really fast. So Ethereum is definitely going in the right places. And some things to back that up. For example, the number of addresses holding at least 0.1 ETH reaches a new high, and you could see, this is pretty obvious that since 2016, it's just been going up and up and up and up and up, right? It really hasn't stopped. There was a little period during crypto winter between 2018 and 2020 where it stopped, but since then, it's been going up and up and up, regardless of the price. So the number of people that are holding ETH inside a wallet continues to grow. That's fantastic. The number of ETH deposited in the ETH 2.0, which is the beacon chain, is still climbing. It just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing, right? And now it has 9.4 million deposited, and this is locked in, and you cannot take it out, right? But the number of people that believe in it continue to put more and more and more and more in, so that's fantastic. The number of ETH on the exchanges continue to drop, just like Bitcoin. So that's also fantastic. So it does show that there's a lot of people that are basically buying Ethereum and just taking it off the exchanges. So that's also fantastic, right? So these things are all fantastic for Ethereum. But the reason why we're having this conversation about projects that are trying to kill ETH is because as of right now in 2022, still it has congestion issues and very high gas fees. Case in point, someone posted this. They were trying to mint some kind of NFT, and the fee was coming close to $2,000. I've never seen fees this high. I've seen it where it's like $200, $250. I have never seen fees this high, but I would not doubt it when the network is fully congested, right? We haven't seen that much these days, but it does happen. Right, and of course, Ethereum 2.0 is supposed to help with this, moving from proof of work, which is not very energy efficient, to proof of stake, which is very energy efficient, and it does prepare the chain to move and utilize a scaling solution, which could be a ZK rollup solution, or it could be something else that they're going to be implementing, right? So that is coming supposedly in June, but the complete scaling solution is not going to be done in June. It's the move to proof of stake first, which should help the chain a little bit, but it doesn't fully fix it altogether. Okay, so of course we still do have this problem, right? That is why there are competition, right? There's a lot of L1s out there that is trying to take down Ethereum. They have grown by leaps and bounds in 2021. They all added on a ton of DeFi projects, a ton of projects overall, a lot of TVL, value staked within those chains. And that's why they have been doing very well. So let's get to some of it. I'm going to do a quick recap of some of these and give you highlights. But of course, I'm only going over 4. And I'm going to add a 5th. But there's really a lot more than just these, right? But let's just start out with Algorand. Algorand has been doing very well, okay? In fact, according to the latest report, Algorand is not only working with El Salvador, but many other countries within Latin America. And within El Salvador, they already have 6 banks that's utilizing Wrapped Bitcoin, and it's on top of Algorand, and El Salvador's government itself is using them. And like I said, there's other countries that's already looking at and talking with Algorand. So they're making a big push in Latin America right now, which, of course, is a big region of the world with a lot of users, right? And this shows, the number of addresses for Algorand continues to go up. Algorand also is very fast, very scalable, although right now there's not a whole lot of transactions going on, 24 transactions per second. However, you could see peak over here. That's where it really tells a different story. Peak within the last 7 days was about 1,100 transactions per second. Ethereum wishes it had 1,100 transactions per second. Ethereum is capped at 15 right now, just so you know. Okay, in case you didn't know, that is approximately 100 times faster. And the Algorand could go even faster than that. It's just that it doesn't have that much going on right now. So obviously, something like Algorand could definitely take on a lot more. And there are DeFi projects and NFT projects that's building on Algorand. So this is number 1, right? Obviously, a good choice to look at if you're looking at an Ethereum killer. But of course, there's others. For example, Polygon. Polygon, I've talked a lot about them. They're on a freaking roll right now, right? They just hit 7,000 dApps within their ecosystem. 7,000, right? And their stats are monstrous right now. Average transactions per day is over 3 million. 3.1 million to be exact. And just to put that into context, the number of transactions on Ethereum per day is about 1.2 million. They're really capped at 1.75. So, the screenshot of like 2,000 gas fees. When Ethereum gets to about 1.75, the gas fee is insane. The network is completely congested. You can't do anything. But on an average day, even like today, it's about 1.2. So, to put things in context, Polygon is averaging more than double the number of transactions on top of Ethereum already right now, right? And the total number of wallet addresses continues to go up, right? And the total DeFi and everything that's on top of Polygon keeps growing. And you got a number of NFT projects that are coming aboard. Highly rumored a Coinbase NFT store will be on top of Polygon, and many others are on top of Polygon's. OpenSea's on Polygon. Unstoppable Domains on Polygon. Uniswap is on Polygon. Decentraland and Sandbox, they're looking at moving to Polygon. You get my picture, right? So Polygon, definitely a major ETH killer at this point, or trying to be. Okay, now moving past that, what else is there? Well, let me talk about 2 others, and they're kind of tied in to FTX Chief. And for those of you guys that know, FTX Chief is Sam Bankman-Fried, who has always been a very big Solana fan. But recently, he's changed his tune. He's mentioning 2 projects rather than 1. And the second one is Avalanche. He's a big believer in Avalanche now. But, Sam Bankman-Fried, one of the early investors in Solana, and you could argue that he is a Solana savior because if you look at Solana's history, there was a point in time it seemed like it was going to dump to zero until Sam said, no more. I'm going to buy up all the SOL out there. And he really carried them. And of course, with FTX growth, with the amount of money he has and the amount of investments he has made in not only Solana and many of the projects running on Solana, it is one of the bigger powerhouses of today, right? And recently, you see, Phantom Wallet, which is a big competitor to MetaMask, just got a boatload of money, and they're now worth $1.2 billion. So obviously, Phantom would not be getting a boatload of money if the ecosystem wasn't growing by leaps and bounds, right? So very positive, and just shows that, yes, the chain is growing by leaps and bounds. And I just noticed this, and this is very significant. Coinbase, which traditionally has only listed ERC20 tokens, is no longer doing that. Coinbase is actually going to list Solana-based projects for the first time. Orca and Fida, which I'm not even familiar with these two projects, but that's a big change in direction. Coinbase only listed ERC20 tokens before. Now, they're going to be listing Solana tokens. So, pretty positive for the entire ecosystem, okay? So, another one has to be Solana. Right, the only caveat to Solana is, you do have a lot of VCs involved with it, but those VCs are also helping grow the ecosystem. So there you go, another ETH killer. And I mentioned about Avalanche. Avalanche is also a project that grew tremendously in 2021. Sam Bankman-Fried now says that he really does like Avalanche. He supports Avalanche, right? And Avalanche has a lot of things going on. I was looking at their Twitter. In fact, today, just to open up a bridge, so now you could easily transfer ERC20 tokens onto Avalanche and vice versa. So whenever you have bridges, it opens up liquidity, and it's great overall. And Avalanche is growing their DeFi ecosystem too. They got Trader Joe and Penguin and several others, right? They are growing by leaps and bounds right now. And if you look at some of the metrics to measure the chain, for example, the number of transactions, they're at 1.1 million, which is roughly the same as Ethereum. So it just kind of shows you that they are definitely growing. And you can see ever since August of 2021, been growing by leaps and bounds. But that's because so much stuff started happening. They also have liquid staking, and they have a ton of wallets that opened up. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on. So there you go. There's another one. Okay. So highlighting the four that I talked about, right? You got Algorand, you got Polygon, you have Solana, and you have Avalanche. Well, I'm going to just go throw a fifth in there. One that has spurred a lot of controversy recently, and that's Terra. Terra. People keep asking me, what's going on with Terra? Why is it going down? Why is it so unhealthy? Right? Well, despite all the FUD that's out there, I like to remind you guys, Terra is still up 16% within the last 90 days. While everything else I just mentioned has been down tremendously. Ethereum has been down 42% the last 90 days. Solana's down 55%, right? Polygon's down 20%. So Avalanche barely. So Terra still in a very good position. But just to clarify why they had so much FUD, it's not due to their fault. It's because due to this other project, Wonderland, which basically collapsed and it's about to shut down. And that's because the founder brought in someone that turned out to be a total scammer. Okay, this guy right here, who happens to be the ex co-founder of the Quadrica exchange from Canada, which resulted in $136 million stolen from investors. Whether or not the other co-founder really died or is just hiding out, we don't know. But this guy is a fraud, and basically he joined Wonderland, and people didn't know it until recently, and then after people found out, it just basically collapsed. And why this relates to Avalanche or Terra is because, unfortunately, the founder of Wonderland also created a project called Abracadabra, which you can utilize UST to borrow their own token, MIM, And then you could use that for DeFi purposes and leverage and use it for a bunch of risky things. And unfortunately, when this project collapsed, MIM project collapsed, everything collapsed, and it brought some FUD to Terra. But Terra is much stronger than these guys, and they will continue forward. And they are definitely a contender in terms of being an ETH killer. And those of you guys are concerned about this, because this has been going on for a long time too. You guys know that I have been staking an Anchor protocol, utilizing UST, making about 20% APY. And people are like, well, what about the reserves? What happens if it slides to zero? Is it going to be bad, right? Well, Do Kwon, the co-founder of Terra, is like, okay, I don't want to get any more DMs about this. So what do you guys want? Another 100 million, 200 million, 300 million into the reserves? And that's exactly what's going to come, right? When the reserves drop to basically zero, he's going to add a whole bunch of more money to keep that Anchor APY up. So it is very positive, very positive. But I did want to address that because recently, whenever there's any kind of FUD, it just seems like people just they overblow the FUD, right? So just want to address that, but it is definitely a project that I very like. So that's actually five projects that are ETH killers. Now, the last news that I want to talk about, which is very, very significant, and I was actually going to title this video, Litecoin is going to save the crypto market. And that's because finally Litecoin is up about 3%, 4%, and we have some very significant news for Litecoin. You know what that news is? Well, it's this. Litecoin is announcing, finally, after however many years, Mimblewimble is coming, okay? It is finally coming. The privacy feature that Charlie Lee, the founder of Litecoin, that has been promised for so many years, is about to come. Except, asterisk, even though it is released, it won't be ready to be used immediately, and you still have to wait for 75% activation with a 1-year time limit. So if the miners don't like it, they're not going to implement it. So there's a caveat and an asterisk there. So we finally get something for Litecoin. And I know there are some hidden Litecoin fans out there, some Litecoin Maximus that has been waiting for this, that thinks that Litecoin is somehow better than Bitcoin. Well, I'm here to burst their bubble. It's not. With this, changes nothing. Okay? In case you don't know Litecoin's history, let's go back to 2017 when Charlie Lee announced that he sold all of his Litecoin. Have you heard of any other project leader that isn't a scammer that publicly declared that he sold all of his creation at peak, not at a bottom, at peak? And to this day, Litecoin has not moved past that point. So think about that. Also, this Mimblewimble thing has been hyped up for 4 years now. Charlie Lee, after dumping his Litecoin, started talking about privacy things. Like, okay, we want to make Litecoin privacy, integrate privacy features. Since 2018. And every time he talks about it, Litecoin pumps up. And then people realized, okay, this is all talk. It's not done, right? And then in 2019, hey, you can see me. I actually covered the fact that internally, Litecoin had no development at all. Mimblewimble was not developed. There was no developers for Litecoin. In fact, the only developer was Charlie Lee. And at that time, he was concentrating on marketing. So there was actually no one working on Mimblewimble until this came out. Then he's like, okay, I got to get serious about it. And I don't know who he hired to develop Mimblewimble. But since then, till now, 3 years later, now it's finally ready, right? This is the reason why I don't like Mimblewimble. Not that I don't like Mimblewimble. This is the reason why I don't like Litecoin. Because it's just a lot of promises. And even with this, it's no better than Bitcoin. Litecoin is a copy. It's a fork of Bitcoin, right? It's supposed to be a store of value. And it's not a better store of value than Bitcoin. It doesn't have smart contracts like all these L1s either. No one's go buy Litecoin to be a store of value. No one's go buy it for anything. So yes, I was joking about Litecoin saving the crypto market. It's not. It's not going to save the crypto market at all. It's not going to save it at all. But I did want to cover this. So congratulations, Litecoin holders and Charlie, for finally accomplishing something you promised 4 years ago. So congratulations. All right, that's pretty much it, guys. Let's do some Q&A. ADEX is live on Cardano. Thoughts on what this means for Cardano? Well, the thoughts are it's not doing a whole lot right now. Okay, ADEX is based on order books, so I'm not even sure if they have any liquidity pools. The reason why DEXs are great for an underlying chains is liquidity pools, is the total value locked. And the one that really makes a dent with Cardano is SundaeSwap, because they're the only ones that's using liquidity pools. So the other ones are all some kind of order book based, and it's not contributing to staking and TVL. That's what you need. All these other L1s I've mentioned, why they blew up is because they have DeFi that requires users to stake in liquidity. And the more that gets staked, the less it's going to be traded, and it causes scarcity, and overall it allows people to trade, in a decentralized manner. So it's very important for that. But Cardano's lacking that right now, right? So SundaeSwap is trying to fix that, but all these other DEXs, they don't seem like they're utilizing it because they don't know how to get around smart contracts for trading. That's why they're going their different route. They should be following SundaeSwap route. Every other AMM out there is following the same route. But the other DEXs on Cardano, they seem like they can't figure it out, so they're going in a different direction, which could still work, but it doesn't help. It doesn't contribute to ADA being locked in and helping Cardano grow. So that's my answer there. Funny Cupcake, I appreciate that. Do you think we're entering NFT bull market? Prices are up for big projects right now. Thoughts? You know what? I actually covered that this morning. If you look at a volume of NFTs in January, it is the highest it's ever been, ever. Even compared to when Bitcoin was, was peaking. So it definitely looks like NFTs are just growing by leaps and bounds right now. But that scares me a little bit, right? Whenever you have such a tremendous buildup, that tends to be bubble-like, and it could pop, right? So be careful. But I know that NFTs are just blowing up. Every day I get pitched like 4 NFT projects. I don't know what's good and what's not. I do have one guy on my team that's really good at detecting some of them. So go to CryptosRUs.com, you'll see. Then it's about Phantom. I'm a big fan of Phantom. They're one of the L1s I didn't mention today that I'm a big fan of. What could be next for Bitcoin for non-rich people? Elrond, ETH. Oh, the next BTC? All the ones I named today, yes, will help you gain a lot of wealth if you are patient and if you can hodl. Elrond is another one. L1. But the ones I talked about today are big. But there's several others like Elrond, Phantom, Harmony. You could even throw, VeChain, Hedera, and several others in there that I think are good. Why doesn't Coinbase have their own Coinbase? They're afraid. They're afraid of the regulators. There's no, Coinbase. I take that back because Voyager does operate in the U.S., but Voyager their stock is traded in Canada, right? And Voyager does have their own token, but it's because of that. Coinbase is, obviously they have their own stock, and it'll be really difficult to have your own stock and also have your own token in the U.S. That is why they don't have it. Veracity and Gala. I definitely like Gala better than Veracity. I'm not sure Veracity can make it. I think they had good traction when things were good, but what it comes down to is getting the players and streamers to utilize, their platform, and that's gonna be a tough thing. But maybe they could do it. Don Snow, some bullish, Solana bullish, some good untouched gaming coins. Okay. What do you think about Loop Ring? You know what? I don't like Loop Ring because they got way too overhyped due to GameStop announcing that they're going to do NFT marketplace with them, and then they shot up to the moon because all the meme guys got in, and I just said it doesn't mean a whole lot for them, right? ZK rollups is important for scaling, like Ethereum. Vitalik said they want to use ZK rollup for scaling Ethereum even after 2.0 is out. But Loopring, their main advantage before was they had a lot of connections with a lot of the Chinese-based L1s. Like Loopring used to have a huge connection with Neo and Ontology, and there was one other one, right? That was their main thing. And then they kind of just like went away from that. Now they're trying to concentrate more on Ethereum. But, Polygon is huge into ZK rollups too, and many others are. So I'm not a big fan of Loopring. Cadena, TVL's around 100 million. CADX sale tomorrow. Yeah, unfortunately not open to U.S. residents. So CADX is going to be big. The very start of AMM dexes on Cadena. I like them. I like them a lot. And when Cadena was under $5, I said they were cheap. Goodbye, and I'm glad to see they're climbing up again too. Can you see Matic at $10 sometime this year? I mean, if the market recovers, sure. I mean, they were at $3, which I think they could get back to really quickly. But from $3 to $10, another 3 to 4x. Could happen if Bitcoin continues on a stellar run this year. Of course, I have to mention that this year is going to be kind of iffy because of Fed rates being, upped or hiked, and it really depends on a lot of other economic factors too. But I do believe what we're in right now is a bear trend in a bull market, in a bull cycle. Right, I know so many people that disagree and says we're in crypto winter and we have to drop to 30,000 and all this stuff, making all these declarations. You know what? I don't believe any of that nonsense, because last time we went through this, last time right here, when we hit 28, 29,000, people said the same thing. Oh, we have to hit 20,000. We have to go down, right? Or we have to go 10,000. It's a head and shoulders. We have to go down to 10,000 before we bounce, right? Did we? No, we didn't, right? So all the people that called, we have to go down to 30,000 before we bounce. Do we? Or are we bouncing already, right? So there's too many people that make too many calls that dictate it has to happen before something else happens. The market will surprise you. I've seen too many surprises within the last 4 to 5 years. Am I still bullish on Ecomi? Yes. Right now they're not doing so hot, but in the long term I am, because they have all the licensing rights. That's the bottom line. They have all the licensing rights for all the major players out there, Disney, Marvel, DC, and even an NFL, and many other movie rights. I mean, they have it all, right? And overall, I guess if you look at it, they haven't done too bad. They've been holding around this period about $1 billion for quite some time. So they're moving to Immutable X, which should help them tremendously. Any comment on Polkadot versus the other L1s? I don't follow Polkadot, to be honest, as close as other L1s, but I think they're up there. They're definitely a contender to be a ETH killer because of the fact that they have 100 parachains that's going to be spinning up, and they're all focused on DeFi and NFTs. Every single one. I haven't heard of any chain that's trying to be a parachain that isn't in DeFi or NFT related. So, but obviously that's going to help it tremendously. TVL matters, okay? I don't think people realize how much TVL matters in terms of driving the price up for that, coin of that chain, right? You look at all the top guys here, like Ethereum, Terra, Binance, Smart Chain, Phantom, Avalanche, Solana, Polygon, right? Polkadot's up here. Polkadot, you can see 1.2 billion. So it's starting to climb, right? And mostly because of these parachains already. Moonbeam, which is like a EVM compatible parachain, and there are DeFi projects that's on top of that. It's quite interesting. But you can see all the major players, right? The big L1s, they all have a lot of TVL. Now, Algorand used to be above $1 billion. They dropped recently, but they're one of the guys up there. Also, Osmosis for Cosmos over 1 billion, Harmony over 1 billion because of DeFi kingdoms. So a lot of these are good. Now, you may be wondering, okay, what about Chronos, which is on the chain for Crypto.com? I think it's good, but the projects on there is not so good. I've seen a couple, including VVS, and I'm just not a fan of those. And there's another one that just looked really shady. But Chronos is, it could push Crypto.com up. Tron, now that Justin is leaving, if they get some good leadership, that's going to do very well for them too. But you could see that they only have 8 dApps right now. They were in complete disarray under Justin. So when he leaves, I don't know when the timeline is, or if he decided he's not going to. But if they get some better leadership, Tron could definitely come back up. So, yep. Goldfinch Finance, never heard of it. Why are so many whales buying Shiba? That's a good question. I don't know. Knees over toes guy for your knee issue. A lot of people have told me that. Thank you. The only thing I really got out of his videos is to do the reverse sled slides, to pull a sled backwards, which I started doing. But all the other stuff still seems too advanced for me. But I am looking at his channel. I'm trying to get your thoughts on ADA. Chan not going through. Is Hydra our only hope? Hopefully not. I think a lot of people didn't realize that Cardano by itself isn't the most scalable chain. I believe it can handle about 100 transactions per second. Something like that, 100, 150. So it's not as scalable as the others until Hydra is out, which will then pair other chains to it, making it more scalable, right? But what's going on with Sunday Swap right now, I think it's beyond that. I think there's just more optimization that needs to happen. So, what is the most interesting upcoming collection in your opinion? My own, the I Am George collection. No, I don't really know. I don't really keep up with NFT collections. I know there's a lot of hyped up ones, but I honestly can't tell you which one is like the most promising one that's coming out right now. What's better, Litecoin and collecting stamps? That's really difficult. Depending on if we're in a uptrend or a downtrend, collecting stamps could be a better option. Yeah, my last I Am George NFT actually did pretty well, much better than I expected. But I am going to post another one soon. So, nice video on Crypto Chub. Thank you. Chub is a good guy. Nice young fellow. Love his voice. He has some interesting questions. He always has some interesting questions. So I'm glad I was able to talk to him. Do you think the metaverse is leading the market? No, not right now. No. They could have a big 2022, but they're not leading the market right now. L1s are leading the market, and Bitcoin, of course, is leading the market. You think Bitcoin needs to flush back? No, I just answered that question. No, I don't think so. I don't think it has to hit 30,000 before we make a move. We started making a move already, if you haven't paid attention. We're starting to make a move already. Does not mean that we have to hit 30K to make a move. Naru says, while you're stressing over a macro sideways market, people are making 100 to 1,000x NFTs. Okay. Are you one of those people? Are you making millions off of those NFTs? If so, why are you here? It's always greed on the other side. There's always stories about who made this much or this much, right? But, you know, in reality, it's a small number, subset of people that have made large amounts of NFT within a short amount of time. But there's a lot that's making a lot over a long period of time. Again, takes patience. Just like people who bought CryptoPunks back in 2017. They were worthless for 4 years. Now they're nearing $1 million each. That's through holding. Just like crypto, just like any other investments. Thoughts on Illuvium taking over gaming scene? I think they're promising, but until their game comes out, right? But they do look very good. I mean, their graphics look amazing. So they're considered like a AAA game. So if they can really hammer that out, it'll be amazing. What is a spell token? Just don't worry about it. It's not worth your time. Give your analysis on Gala. You know what? I haven't looked at Gala in a long time, but I like their platform. You know, last Saturday, I played Decentraland, right? And maybe every Saturday, I'll pick a new game to play. And I know on Gala, there's a lot, like Townstar. You know, I may just play that this Saturday or some other game. But I think Gala has promise, founded by co-founder of Zynga. And really what it comes down to is games, because they're a gaming platform. All right, I think that's pretty much it. Can short squeeze happen on BTC during a downtrend? Of course it can. When you have too many greedy shorts, they get liquidated and you get a short squeeze. Just like we had too many greedy longs recently. That's why we had so many long squeezes. But short squeezes can definitely happen. And you know what? We could see it happening very, very soon. Very soon it did. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. But before I go, just so you know, I have a couple other channels. You guys know, most of you guys know I have a car channel, drivers only, but I don't need to tell you guys about that channel. But I do have 2 other channels, so in case you can't get enough of me and you want more of my opinion about all things, then you should follow me on these channels. I do have an I Am George channel, which I post usually like once a week now. I mean, before, you know, I posted and then I didn't post for a year, but it's been building up, so I'm going to do more on this. It's more like personal blog type of video. So if you want to check it out, make sure you do so. And then also, I create a channel with my friends. This is more about all kind of stuff, Boardroom Live, you know, stuff that you want to listen to when you're bored. Basically, a lot of stuff about Tesla and other current events. So started to do these videos with my friends. So if you want to check it out, do so as well. So make sure you check those out if you are Georges and you want to hear more of me. All right, guys, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. In the meantime, enjoy your gains. Overall market cap is heading up. BTC is still holding very strong. Tomorrow's a big day, a very, very big day. Let's see what happens. All right, good night, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.